Hi. Okay, we left off with Paul. Now we find Paul asking, do you look at things after the outward appearance? Well, yeah, man does look at the outward appearances. Doesn't that sound something like what John told man when he said, do not love the things of the world? Do not love the appearances of the world is exactly what he said? I don't know. Sounds like both these men are saying the sleeping man's world is formed by appearances, and man should not believe them nor love any of them. But man does look at the outward appearances. He does that because his life consists of the appearances, the forms in his world. And even though John said not to love the things of the world, man does love the appearances. The appearances are what constitutes man's reality. What reality would there be without the forms and the appearances? Paul, like John, understood what the appearances were, because the word appearance does mean false showings. False means not true. And appearances means a pretense. And the word pretense means a mere showing without reality. So if these are the definitions, then man's appearances are merely showings of the mental pictures with no reality then. Again, Einstein, man's reality is merely an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Well, then next I read the word appearance means coming into view. The word view is interesting. It means observation, and it means a thought. So then it is the observation of a thought that is coming into view as an appearance for our reality. So is man's reality just himself viewing his own mental images? If so, that would mean the external world, the out here world where we all live in our reality, is deceiving us. And that would mean that we are not experiencing reality, but are experiencing false showings of reality and not what is actually real. If it is the truth that our thoughts are the only reality we have, then we could bring any thought we chose into our view. If that is so, then it would make sense why those in charge in the ancient days would want the people to not know this. I mean, they wouldn't want the people to know the truth because it could free them. It would actually set the people free if they knew that they had free choice by bringing whatever thought they wanted into the view. Well, man was asked, will you set your eyes upon that which is not? Now, Paul told us not to look at the appearances because it was the dream, the fantasy of external images. So Paul's really telling man not to look at anything out here. And the reason Paul doesn't just say what he means is he's probably afraid. Because those in charge just don't want the people to have understanding and wisdom. Even though Job says that's what we need, the ones in control are keeping the wisdom from us. Okay, our world is comprised of our thoughts being viewed. Therefore, we are free to choose our own reality and no longer be controlled. If you look at the outward appearances, then you are not seeing what is real, but only a mere showing of your own mental images that come into your view. Appearances, remember, are deceptions. Deceptions are something that deceive. Deceive is to cause somebody to believe what is not true. So the question is, has man spent his life being deceived by his own mental images that come into his view as he sleeps? Paul told us, be not deceived. Be not deceived. He told us not to be deceived by the daydream, not to be absorbed in the series of images and thought. He said, be not deceived by our mental images that appear real. Paul was not deceived because he said, the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that are not seen, they are eternal. And what is it that's eternal and you can't see? Consciousness. The things you cannot see are the things found in your inner parts, found in your own consciousness. Knowing and understanding that, Paul then said, look not at the things which are seen, but the things that are not seen. He's seeing that the appearances, the forms, are not what we should be looking at. Knowing and understanding that Paul said, look not at things that are seen, but which are the things are not seen, he said that the appearances, the forms, are not what we should be looking at. Paul wanted us to look at things you cannot see, and what you cannot see is consciousness. Do you not see the place where all things come from? No. You cannot see consciousness. So it's very likely Paul was trying to get the people to go to their inner parts, to go to their consciousness, that invisible realm known as the void. And it is in the invisible realm of consciousness that all things are first found in their original form, before they became corrupted by the labels and the beliefs of a sleeping man. Consciousness is the original form of all outer appearances. This man we think we are is full of conceit, thinking he is something when he is not. Oh, man does believe his daydreams as his reality. That's why Paul said, "Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." Renew is to restore. Paul wanted everyone to restore the original man. And he said the way to do it was, it's now high time to awake out of your sleep. I mean, it's time to stop dreaming, to wake up and restore the original man who is made in the image and likeness of the Creator. Why would Paul think man was sleeping? Was it because nowhere was it ever told when the sleeping man did wake up? Paul, like Jeremiah, wanted us to awake from the dreams that we have caused to dream. Now, this is an interesting statement by Paul. He said, "Man is not sufficient of himself to think anything, but his sufficiency is of God." God might be another word for consciousness. Man is not sufficient without his consciousness to think anything. But, Paul said, the efficiency is of God. Consciousness. It's really consciousness. Paul wanted us to look at the things you cannot see, and you do not see consciousness. You do not see the place where all things come from. Paul and all the others who did have wisdom and understanding believed that man was not of the flesh, but in the Spirit. And the Spirit dwells in them. And if it is true that man does indeed live and move and have his being in him, the original invisible, then we do need to know who him is, because it is he who perfects all that concerns us. Paul believed man lives and moves and has his being in him. Finish with Paul when he said, "Your foolish heart was darkened." Darkened means unexplored. What is it that man has yet to deeply explore? Well, for me, I had not explored my inner parts. I had not personally explored the depths of my own consciousness. Have you?